Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is God for Sardegna B with the MOTUL AUTECH GTR. Let's get this started by mentioning that the brake balance is at +1 or 1 to the rear to help the car rotate a bit more through the turns. We are on the racing soft tires this time, and also you can see my cute self on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. But let's go ahead and get this started by slowly bringing ourselves towards the right side of the track. Brake before the 100-meter board, and you want to attack this first turn. So you'll be braking hard for a while, then you'll somewhat gradually ease off of the brakes as you turn in, and once you hit the apex, get on the throttle as soon as you can. And then take these two turns flat out, taking advantage of the curves, and your next braking point is just before you pass the ambulance that is on the right. Brake hard for a short moment, nice and easy off the brakes as you turn in, and you want to gradually get on the throttle, just trying to maximize the width of the track. Then just after the barrier on the left starts, that is where you want to use a little bit of braking. Take advantage of the curves, as that will help the car rotate a bit more and you'll be able to get on the throttle a bit sooner. Now this is where the really tricky part comes in. Your next braking point is this machine that is on the left, so you want to brake just as you pass it. Take advantage of the width of the track, and you want to graze the apex, as there's a dip over here that can easily unstabilize the car. Lots of throttle control to keep the car under control, and then you want to brake just before the barrier on the right starts, so quick burst of braking through here. Try to take advantage of the apex and quickly get on the throttle. This left turn can easily be taken flat out, and then you want to bring yourself towards the right for the very painful last turn, where you want to use the sign or the end of the dark area on the right as your next braking point. Small burst of braking, clip the apex, and try to get on the throttle as soon as you can, keeping two wheels on the red and white curbs. That is pretty much it for the lap guide. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the strategies. And yeah, teased again with another 0.0. But anyways, moving on over to the strategies. So this was recorded a couple hours before the daily races switched. We are doing 14 laps at Sardegna B with the Group 2 cars. Fuel is a ×2, so fuel is obviously not an issue, but the tower is a ×6. And that means that the tower is going to creep up on you pretty fast. So you're pretty much going to be pitting around halfway into the race. And you have the racing soft and medium tires provided to you. Both tires are required, so you do have to go into the pit stops at least once to switch over to the tires that you haven't used yet. In terms of what tires to start on, pretty much if you're starting in the very front, so we're talking first or even second place, you can start on the racing soft tires to try to get away from everyone. But if you're starting third or even second and below, you're going to be better off starting on the racing medium tires, and that is because of the dirty air issue. So these Group 2 cars are high downforce cars, so whenever you're within 3/4 of a second behind someone, you are in their dirty air, which is going to make your car more understeery through the twistier parts of the track, which will contribute to more tire wear. So if you're under someone's dirty air and you're on the racing soft tires, it's going to basically make you lose time, and you won't be getting the full benefits out of the racing soft tires. So once again, if you're starting second or even third and below, you're better starting off on the racing medium tires. Save the better tires for later on in the race as the race goes on. And as we're finishing lap 1, well, we're not even done with lap 1, and there's already a bit of tire wear developing. So tire wear it's going to creep up on you pretty fast. It'll make the car pretty sketchy as the race goes on. So whether you're starting on the racing soft or medium tires, pretty much your pit window is laps 6 to 8. Although you might see some people try to go for an undercut and try to pit on even earlier. So that is something that you do want to watch out for. And once again, as I mentioned earlier, because dirty air is an issue, undercuts will play a pretty big part in this race. So if you're struggling to get around a group of cars and they keep on fighting it out, if you haven't pitted yet, it is possible to pit in a bit earlier, switch on over to the tires I haven't used yet, and then take advantage of the clean air to make some progress. So hopefully by the time they pit, you're able to pass them as they're pitting out. So there is a bit of strategy in this race. So undercuts will be a pretty big thing, especially with how brutal the dirty air is with these Group 2 cars. As for go-to cars, pretty much the MOTUL AUTECH GTR, so the 2016 one, is pretty much your go-to car for the race. I had the brake balance at +1 or 1 to the rear to try to save those front tires. And you may even see a couple of Lexus RCFs, so the AU-TOMS RCF, you may see a couple of those. They're a bit slower, but they are a bit more stable than the MOTUL AUTECH GTR. And I think even the Raybrick NSX, so the newer NSX, I think that one's actually going to be better for time trial instead of the race, because the Raybrick NSX, it's not that good when it comes to tire wear. But anyways, let's put on in. We need to change tires. We went 8 laps with the racing soft tires, and we're going to end up losing around 18 to 19 seconds. So with the pit loss being pretty long, you only want to pit once to switch on over to the tires that you haven't used yet. And as I mentioned earlier, you can take advantage of the pit stop to try to go for an undercut. So if you're struggling to get around a group of cars that are fighting a lot, you can try to pit in a bit earlier than usual to try to take advantage of the clean air once you come out of the pit stops. But do be aware that if you're pitting a bit earlier than usual, so let's say before lap 6, your tires will be wearing out a bit more, so your car will become harder to control as the tires wear out more and more. So if you do decide to go for a pretty big undercut, just be careful with those tires, take good care of them. Which may be a bit hard to do, because for a track or a combination like this, you pretty much need to take full advantage of the downforce to try to get the best times possible. So taking care of the tires may be a little hard to do, especially if you're under someone's dirty air. But at the end of the day, this race is going to be more or less your average daily race C, where your race is going to be around 17 to 17 and a half minutes. And this run was pretty much my first run, I think. So in this run, I ended up with a 17 minutes and 18 seconds. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about places to overtake and the penalty serving zone, since we're towards the end of the video. The main straight is going to be the best place to get the overtake done, especially with the use of slipstream. So you can definitely take advantage of the slipstream to try to get past someone and try to get past them before you get to turn 1. After that, the dirty air is going to be brutal here, so it's going to be even harder to try to get a pass on someone as you go through these twistier parts of the track. And pretty much the last best place to get an overtake done is going to be the back straight, although this will be a bit more situational depending if the car in front got a really bad exit out of the right turn. So if they got a bad exit, that can potentially open up for opportunity to get an overtake done through here. But once we go through the twistier parts of the track again, it's going to be difficult to get it past done, because once again, the dirty air is going to make the cars more understeery, which means that you have to slow yourself down a bit more to hopefully not end up going off track. And here we go through the final turn. Don't go too wide, because you do risk getting into an incident if you're going too wide through the final turn. And for those who don't know where the penalty serving zone is, it's in a rather weird spot. So just after the hairpin that starts to go uphill, the penalty serving zone is hanging out right over here, so just after the start of sector 3. So if you have to serve a penalty, you'll be serving it right there, which is a bit of an awkward place to serve it. But anyways, that is pretty much it from me. I'd like to thank you guys for the awesome support, and I also like to give thanks to Playseat for the support of this channel. So that's all from me. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. So this is Mr. CA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.